A Norwegian progressive thrash band reached out to me sometime in 2016 to review an EP they just released. I had a lot of videos I was working on at the time, but given they were the first band to message me offering to send a copy of their album, I had to hear them. Vorbid was a brilliant blend of thrash metal and progressive metal into one monster mamma jam, the thinking man's thrash. Now, in 2018, they're on a label and have an album under their belt. Mind. Simple and to the point. Just look at that artwork. Really badass. I remember they sent me this months before the album was even announced and was blown away. Of course, it looks great on a shirt. It's spacious, but it's grand. All at once. And now I'm gonna go song by song, starting with the first, If There's Evil, There's People. It has a fun, banging intro. A band that knows what they're doing, taking cues from classic thrash and prog. It starts where the EP left off, but with better songwriting. It's a tight performance with plenty of changes and obvious Rust in Peace influence. The bass plays different stuff than the guitar at times, too. Now, the riffs often have a lot of notes, but they don't mind minimalizing and power chording every once in a while as well. There's a nice tempo slowdown about 2 minutes and 41 seconds in. It throws things down nicely. And at the 4 minute and 50 second mark comes a nice guitar lead that harmonizes before it goes into a Freeman-esque solo. Then, right after that, more harmonizing licks that goes into a solo. There's plenty of this throughout the album. And actually one of the things I enjoy most about Vorbid. It's the harmonized solos and the harmonized riffs. In fact, there's more than one solo in each song, and none of them sound the same. It's a great blend of thrash and prog, but the thrash element is more explored here than on the EP. At least until the title track. And this is where we come to one point of criticism and the most obvious difference between releases. The vocals. On the EP, it was more mid-range and decipherable, and actually very good even if they stayed on one note most of the time. This time, it's a higher register, like he's going for the Vector and 3 Inches of Blood sound. The difference is those vocals go in different notes and ranges, with plenty of ass in them. Michael kinda stays in one spot once he's up there. I heard Zombie when it was released before the album and didn't exactly know what to think of them. I mean, they didn't sound bad, but it took some getting used to. And all I could wonder was, what would they sound like for the rest of the album? Fortunately, they're not pushed high in the mix, but if he's going to continue this style of scream, it'd be cool if he went between different registers. If you listen to their pre-EP track, Violation of the Human Mind, the vocals sound different from either release. So it sounds like he's experimenting with different stuff. Maybe on the next album he'll growl. That would be fucking awesome. And then we get into the second song, Zombie. Starts with a lead solo and goes into graveyard thrashing. The verse riff is similar to Take No Prisoners. Even one of the solos sounds like Hook and Mouth. Lyrically, it's about, you guessed it, zombies. There's even a line from Dawn of the Dead. There's also a minor bass solo and it seamlessly goes between hard speed and sway speed. Also, the drummer is good at hitting ghost notes and flashing when he needs to, like a good jazz drummer. And, again, harmonized guitar solos in parts exist. Now the third song, Invention Intervention. It's a song they played live before the EP was even recorded. The solo here feels like an extension to the riff under it. Hard-hitting, but Vorbid is for people who like guitar action. Riff sounds like Five Magics, killer dual guitar tracks, but the memorable part of this song is at 2 minutes and 14 seconds in. Probably the best song on the whole album. All kinds of different twists and cool stuff going on. And the fourth song we have is To Megatherion. No, not a Celtic Frost worship song. Plenty of wah action in the solo, chorus is really well done. Same stuff to say on this song as the other songs. Tight performance, great musicianship. And the best part of the song is the last 40 seconds, which is the highlight. Then we come to Mind. It's 23 minutes and has 3 movements, Think Your Sturge, Diluted Transcendence, and Sodom and Gomorrah. This is the 5th and final song of the album. The beginning of it is To Live Is To Die reminiscent. There's already a solo in the first minute, and it kicks in heavy after a few seconds of that. The vocals sound their best here because there's space and appropriate tension for it. And of course, there's a moment at 6 minutes and 30 seconds in that starts pretty tense and becomes pretty. The third act does repeat one of its riffs near the end, and I think there should have been more of that stuff going on, like say at the 21-minute mark. There are lots of changes everywhere in the whole thing. There are even hints of the song Garden of Departure. Perhaps it's a sequel? Now the issue I have with this song is that it's in 3 different movements, but it's hard to tell where they all begin and end unless you're reading the lyrics. Maybe if it were split into 3 different tracks with something connecting them, maybe it would have rang more memorably. Like Boston, Walk On. It's an 11-minute song with 4 different tracks, each of them different but connected. You have the build up to what would become the main part that everyone remembers, and after that main part would be a long organ solo among other things. After that, it epilogues back into familiar territory. For Mind, there's no reference point to tread back to when you get too lost. Like, it goes in its own direction and doesn't look back. It has a lot of great ideas, changes, and riffs, but maybe too many for what a song like this calls for. This song is also the only one that was collectively written by the entire band, so maybe everyone wanted to throw their piece in there and didn't self-edit it. And the last thing I want to mention is the production. It's spacious, and the bass takes more room. Being able to hear it is a plus. And it also explains why producers should stop using DI tracks for the bass and actually amp them. Now, with this space, there's not as much attack or heaviness as the EP. That sounded more close-mic'd and bright and frontal. Still, the mix is pretty good. Whichever one you prefer will depend on the listener. More hardness or more atmosphere. Pick your poison. For a first album, it's pretty gnarly. Lots of great ideas, and they show once again that they have enough talent to grab you by the balls. Not all of those ideas hit the mark, of course, but this is a first album. The next one is going to be a real fucking monster. And Vorbid, I've said it before, I'll say it again, is a band that will continue to gain success and go places. Like I said, in 2016 they were relatively unknown, and now in 2018 they're signed to a label, they're playing festivals, they've won this battle of the bands over in Norway where they're from, so hey, they've got what it takes. So hey, listen to Mind and grind on.